Good morning, friend. It's harvest day. You looking very serious. We're going to start off with harvesting some onions this morning. The kiddos are going to spend some time with their grandma, but I promised they could help with the onion harvest because they've been anticipating it for a long time. Are you ready, babies?
Yes.
Okay. Most of these onions are candy onions, but I also have a few red onions in the front. You can see some of them, candy, isn't that good? Some of them are really different sizes. So we've got a really nice big one there and a tiny one next to it. I had some cats that kept digging up this bed, and so the onions got moved around several times, which is why some of the spacing is off and they're all different sizes. That's okay. We still got a few big ones, Mama, and we're going to use all of them. I'm excited. Yes, baby.
I don't like when I'm little.
Okay.
The red onions are struggling.
They are. The red onions are
I
struggling.
don't like when I'm this little.
I also had some volunteer potatoes choke out onions on one side. So we've got different sizes, but we're happy. We've got things to harvest and things to eat. We don't want we don't want any of this to break off. So you can pull down low, and then if it's not coming out easily, you have to scoop your hand under it.
Okay.
We don't want to have to pull hard because it'll break. Okay? You want to pull the first one?
I want to pull this one.
Oh, put your hand at the bottom. There. Oh, it's okay, wait. Oh, you've got it. Look at that.
Wow.
That's a big one. You want to give it a little shake? Get that dirt off? Nice. We're going to lay it right here.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I wanted to pick this one.
Yeah, I've been excited about that one.
You can pick the second biggest one.
Thanks, baby. Okay. Remember, if it's not easily coming up, dig underneath. You got it.
Who's about to break up?
Yeah, we don't want that. Typically, I'd want to lay these onions out in the sun for about 2 days to start out their drying process, and then I'd hang them upside down to cure for a couple weeks. But we're expecting rain, and this is just the time that I can do this. So I'm going to put these in baskets, and I'll hang them on my porch to cure when the rain has passed tomorrow. Here are my larger candy onions. And here's some smaller candy onions and the red onions. That gave me about 50 onions in all. They range from softball size to golf ball size. So next year, to try to get some more consistent onions, more onions like this, I'm going to keep a close watch on spacing and try to solve this cat problem. But also, one of the other things that really disrupted the growth of these onions was that there were a bunch of volunteer potatoes in this bed. I've actually dug a few of them out because we needed some for dinner a couple days ago. But I'm going to go on a deep dig now and see if I can find every other potato that could be in this bed so that it doesn't interrupt whatever I plant next. There's one. Whoa! I did not expect that. That'll be good with dinner tonight. Well, my onions might not have grown as large as I'd hoped, but they did bring me a little bonus of potatoes. Let me show you. Some of these are definitely larger than I expected. That has certainly been in the soil since last year. So we'll eat these soon. Moving on, we've got a small harvest of green beans. These are really pretty much done. You can see there's no blooms on here. Leaves are yellowing. But I think there might be one serving left here to harvest. One of the things I really like about dragon tongue green beans is when they get large, they don't get tough. They're such a flat, tender bean that even if I fail to pick for a few days, I usually get something that we're happy to eat. So I'm going to see if I can get one last serving here, and then let me show you what's at the end of this row. If you're newer to gardening, I just want to show you what green beans tend to look like towards their end. The pods get more irregular shaped, and you can feel that they're flatter and you can really feel those seeds inside. You can see this one's just wonky. That is the sign that this plant is done. It's really trying to put out seed. That's okay, we'll still eat this, but it's not quite as tasty as those first beans. It is hot, hot, hot at 10 a.m. I am grateful for this breeze. Green bean plants are all pulled. I keep calling them green beans. I guess they're not really green. There's a good last harvest for us, so I'm glad I didn't pull these plants a couple days ago when I thought about it. This space is now available for something else, and here on the end is what I wanted to show you. These 3 plants are the ones I marked off as seed for next year. So you can see they've got a lot of large pods on them. See if I can give you a better view. There we go. A couple weeks ago, I chose 3 plants to designate as seed for next year. I looked for plants that had large, full pods, because that's the seed that I want to send forward into my next garden. This will be my first time saving seeds, so I've let these grow as large as they can. Now I'm going to pull them off. I could let them dry on the plant, but I want to have this space cleared. So I'm going to pull them off, and I'll just leave them out in the sun to dry. Then I'll open the pods, and the dried beans will be saved for next year's seed. That's $4 I don't have to spend. It's a small savings, but if I keep doing it, it'll add up, and it just makes me feel like my garden's my own when I can also save some seeds for it. I'll put the seed pods in here so they have lots of airflow for drying. There are my seed beans. I'll just add them to my stash. Past my green beans, I've got some herbs to harvest. I've been harvesting and drying a lot of oregano, some mint, a bit of thyme, but I haven't gotten any rosemary yet. I haven't dried any basil yet. I've just been making pesto, and I don't have enough time. So I'm going to do some rosemary, thyme, and basil. This planter is overwintered from last year. I love that I didn't have to plant any of this. Just grew back and was ready for me. Thyme and rosemary are so vigorous. I like that about them. Basil is over here. I recently cut a good deal of basil for pesto, but there's some left for drying. Don't mind my daughter's shoes on the porch. All right, let's make our way over to the tomatillos. Oh, let me show you my pumpkin on the way. Every morning, the kids and I come out and check on this pumpkin. And honestly, just about every morning, it's a bit bigger. It's our first time growing pumpkins, so we're all kind of kid level excited. And the bees, well, I was going to show you how the bees are loving the blooms, but so are the cucumber beetles. All right, there's real life, folks. I'm going to come back and spray for those. But I don't want to get sidetracked. This is harvest day. I'm getting tomatillos. I have not harvested from these yet, so some of them are a little overripe, but many of them are great. They should have that feeling that the papery outside is full on the inside, and there's a little bit of give to the fruit. So these are not ripe yet. You can see the papery inside has a lot of space in it. Here's one. Might be a little overripe, but you can see when I squeeze it, there's not a lot of space inside. The fruit has filled out the papery husk, and it's a little tender. It has been so dry lately, and my hose does not reach this plant, so it has not gotten the best care. Oh, this one's great. It's not yellow, still green, fully filled out. That's the idea. There's my first harvest from the tomatillo plants. I planted these because I wanted salsa verde. That's what I was dreaming of. But now I'm starting to think I might want some green enchilada sauce. I'm going to have fun looking up recipes and thinking about this. I love to garden, but part of the reason I love to garden is because I also love to eat. So I'm always thinking as I'm harvesting, what am I going to make? What am I going to get to eat? Over here past the tomatillos are my cherry tomatoes. My daughter has been grazing on this sun sugar. There's not often some ripe ones. I see a few here. My daughter's a pretty thorough grazer. Looks like there's not much for us here. That's okay. Let's go check on the chamomile. I think there's still some more blooms on there. It's been about 2 or 3 days since I harvested. They are coming to their end, but I think they've got a little bit more to give before they're done. Yeah, there's still things worth harvesting here. You can see some of this is going to seed. Some of it's lovely. I'm gonna put some in here. These farmers market, oof, look at my nails. That's from digging potatoes. These farmers market baskets are perfect for drying out the chamomile with all those slots for air. This is my first year growing chamomile. I planted it because I wanted to grow some herbal teas, but I've been surprised by just how much I'm enjoying these plants. Harvesting happens about every other day, and it just smells really nice while I'm harvesting, and it's been kind of a peaceful moment in my day to take some time and just pull one bloom at a time and enjoy the smell of it, knowing I'll have some cups of tea later. I just wanted to show you this bloom because this is the perfect bloom. When the petals start to bend back a bit, but they're all still open, nothing's drying and dying, that is when the flavor is best. That'll give me a few more cups of tea. It smells really nice. I'm going to go harvest a bunch of mint now. The mint is down here. Oh, look at all those chickens. Just finding some relief from the heat. They're all crowded under the coop. I don't blame them. We're getting into the 90s now. And over here is the mint. I've already harvested and dried about 3 quarts of mint to put on my shelf to have for tea over the winter. So this mint I probably won't dry. I'll probably steep it as a big pot of tea and sweeten it, and we'll keep it in the fridge as iced tea. It's been really nice to have a pitcher of iced tea in our fridge throughout the summer. So I've got 2 kinds of mint. This fuzzy stuff here is apple mint, and this is mojito mint. We have been enjoying it in mojitos lately. It is the taste of summer. All right, the last stop for harvest day, tomatoes, cucumbers, and peppers. I don't expect much from the tomatoes, but I think I do have a few ripe ones. These are my San Marzano paste tomatoes, very first ripe ones. Full disclosure, I am battling some blossom end rot, so I've started watering extra because I think it was the dryness. I think the soil has sufficient calcium and just wasn't getting regular calcium uptake into the plant because it's been so dry. So I'm watering extra, but I have had to throw some tomatoes away, a good deal of green tomatoes away that were already showing blossom end rot. Makes me happy to be getting some ripe ones that have no rot. Wow, this wind is great. Here's a Paul Robeson. It's looking ready. I'll let that sit on my windowsill to finish off. It feels pretty soft and ripe, but that top does have some green. Give this one a little more time on the vine. Ooh, look at that. I spot some red. Let's go grab it. That is my Amish paste tomato. It's beautiful. It feels soft and good. Over here are my cucumbers. I have harvested a lot from these plants, but they've slowed down a bit because there's been an infestation of squash bugs. I've been pulling bugs off of plants and spraying with neem. I think there's a few. Oh yeah, there we go. There's definitely some things to harvest here. Here's a nice little cucumber harvest. One of these was hiding from me. I didn't notice this guy the last time I harvested. It's definitely no good to eat. I'm going to take it to the chickens right now. It's a hot day. This might be a nice little treat for them. Hey, girlies. Hey. I have a little treat for you. Oh, good. It's not a loss. All right. Last harvest stop for the day is the hot pepper bed. Let's start with the jalapenos. Many of these don't need to be harvested yet. Like this could certainly get bigger, but we want to eat them. I pickled some jalapenos and we tore through them in a day. So I'm going to pick some of the largest ones so that we can pickle some more. There's still plenty of other things on here that can ripen. And finally are my Anaheim peppers. I've let this one ripen to red, which I don't usually have the patience for. I'm glad I did. But I also like them while they're green. Here's a good one. I'll save these in the fridge for when I start making salsa. All right, that's as much heat as I can take, and that's as much produce as I have to harvest. I'm going to get this in the house, and then I'll show you a recap of everything we got today. All right, that is a wrap on harvest day. So let me show you everything we got today. We got about 50 onions, some big, some little, sorry, and some bigger. We got a surprise harvest of volunteer potatoes. For herbs, you can see I've got some drying back here, so I'm gonna have to clear those out. Oof, hair's sticking to me, it's so hot. Clear those out and we can harvest or start drying these. Got rosemary, 2 kinds of thyme, and basil. We've got mojito mint and apple mint, and dragon tongue green beans for eating, and very pleased with this, dragon tongue green beans for seed. These will go into next year's garden. And then tomatillos, tomatoes, cukes, jalapenos, and I'm especially pleased with the Anaheim peppers. Oh, I almost forgot. Also some chamomile, a couple cups of tea. Thanks for joining me for a day in the garden. We are definitely in that season now where things are trickling in every day. So if you're ever curious what's happening here on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at locally.raised, and I keep more frequent updates on there. I think next week we'll probably spend some time preserving this food, or maybe we'll do a little bit of garden to table cooking. All of this is part of my mission to change the way that I source my family's food, to bring my family more food from our backyard. Oops, there's a little bug on me. Hazards of gardening life. Anyhow, more food from our backyard and more food from local farmers. I hope you're encouraged by this, and I look forward to sharing more with you next week. Until then, bye.